People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.
The most wonderful time of the year. Although, let's be honest, around the holidays, things really add up. But here's the good news. Only at Verizon, you can get a single line for $50 per month when you switch and bring your phone. So while ice skating for two is definitely costing more, here at Verizon, you can save. Gifts for your third cousins? Steep. A single line with Verizon? Not so steep. A real tree? Pricey. A single line with Verizon? Less pricey. Flights to see Mima and Pops? Those are up. A $50 per month single line? That's down. Even a trip to the Atlanta Holiday Market will cost you more. But with Verizon, you can switch and bring your phone for just $50 per month for a single line on unlimited welcome, with autopay plus taxes and fees. All this to say, during the holiday season, when everything is costing more, you can get more for less right now at a local Verizon store. $15 monthly promo credits applied over 36 months with a new line on unlimited welcome. In times of congestion, unlimited 5G, 4G LTE may be temporarily slower than other traffic. Domestic data roaming at 2G speeds. Additional terms apply.
Well, g'day legends. I'm Jeff Ross, a proud dad of three amazing boys coming to you from the stunning island of Tasmania, Australia. I'm the host of the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show, brought to you in partnership with the Los Angeles Tribune. Hey, our mission is simple: to help frustrated online marketers, side gig hustlers like you break free from overwhelm, master AI and social selling, and finally build a business that works for you, not the other way around. Hey, here's the thing. Working from home with a side hustle isn't just about making money. It's about creating freedom. The freedom to spend more time with your family, do the work that you love, and live life on your terms. That's why this show exists. And today we've got something truly special for you. Today we're joined by the extraordinary Dame Doria Cordova, a global leader in entrepreneurialism and education in financial transformation. She's the CEO and owner of Accelerated Business Schools and the creator of Money in You program, which has transformed over 200,000 lives, wait for it, in over 85 countries around the world. Dame Doria isn't just a business educator, she's a visionary. Her work blends wealth creation, personal growth, and humanitarian service in a way that empowers people to live lives of abundance and purpose. If you've ever felt stuck with your money or business, this conversation is exactly what you need to hear. So go grab that coffee, tea, or whatever your favorite drink is, and let's welcome the one and only Dame Doria to the show. Doria, it's absolutely amazing working with you on this interview today. So thank you very much for saying yes and jumping onto this off the back of the marketing forum with the LA Tribune. Truly appreciate you, very humbled. And your work has impacted hundreds of thousands of lives. Can you share a moment where you realized this was your calling? Like, what sparked your journey into transforming lives through entrepreneurship and wealth education?
Well, aloha from San Diego. Hello, everyone in all the beautiful world and all the people that you're reaching. I am actually, my story is so long, and it comes out of me being an immigrant in the United States that grew up in California. I was very successful by the time I was 24 years old as an official court reporter. I was young, I was beautiful, I had money, I had everything that a young woman could want, but I was very unhappy. And it was the 70s, it was the mid-70s. In 1974, I was 24 years old. And I chose a couple of years later, through a series of circumstances, I decided to go to Hawaii. So since I was an unhappy young woman and I couldn't figure out what was going on, I figured I would go and be unhappy in a beautiful place. And beauty heals. You live in a part of the world, and so many of you that are down under, it's just so beautiful.
Mm.
Hawaii is very similar. And, and something sparked within me when I listened to Buckminster Fuller and also did my first human potential program, what now would be called a mindset program, a transformational program. And through a series of circumstances, because that's what happens, I ended up going to the first business school for entrepreneurs of its kind. So I'm actually the
That's so cool.
creator of it. I'm the creator of the economic engine of Money and You. The Money and You program is beyond brilliant, and it was co-created by Marshall Thurber and Bobby T. Porter. And I inherited the work and have been doing it for 45 years. So I'm the one that carried the torch, and it came out of me being unhappy, being very successful, looking for my life purpose, but also finding out that I could create wealth with a strong economic engine and make a difference to the world. So that is what I have been doing for 45 years.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And I just love hearing essentially like the hero's journey. And most of us, like what I like to call, we get out of Suckville and we find our way through Awesometown through that journey. And thank you very much for sharing that, and especially for our listeners. And it's also a pleasure to get to know you a bit better as well. So for so many of our entrepreneurs, money feels like it's a consistent struggle. What's one foundational principle about wealth creation that you believe everyone should understand to creating lasting abundance?
Well, some of you are very familiar with my old business partner, Robert Kiyosaki's book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He was my business partner for 9 years, and we literally launched him into the world as we did Tony Robbins in the early 80s. And that book holds the very essence of and why it hit a vein all over the world. So the impact of our work is with millions, tens of millions, if not 100 million people, because of the graduates of the work that continue to put the word out there. So the core is that we are not educated in traditional education for us to handle money, to build businesses, to get along in the world, to have effective communications, to be able to handle challenges that every day come up for every human being, no matter where you are in the world, if you are in an economically developed country. Obviously, people in emerging nations have different problems, but for those of us in, economically developed countries, the challenge is always around creating an economic engine and understanding that money is a small part of it. Money is the means of exchange, but what most people don't understand and don't have is access. So I want to congratulate you really from the bottom of my heart, and why I was willing to do this with you is because you are giving people access to people that otherwise they would not have had, to give them access to information, to resources. With the Los Angeles Tribune, my Mo is my friend, my little brother. I'm his mentor. And one of the things that you're doing is solving, without maybe even understanding, that you're solving the big problem of accessibility, which is through wealth.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you for recognizing that. The intention for the whole show was exactly that, was how can I go, be like sort of Napoleon Hill and go and interview amazing experts around the world and bring that information to our listeners, and through that experience, learn myself. So I love that you recognize that. I appreciate you. Thank you. So, you've always connected financial success with making a difference. So how can business owners align with their profits with purpose and create a lasting impact for around their communities? As a one servant-hearted leader to another, like I'm all about helping people with their heart-centered, purpose-driven lives. I love to unpack that with you. So how do you help people with their aligning their profits with their purpose?
But the first thing I want to say is that if we're talking to somebody in Australia, New Zealand, and that part of the world, this comes very naturally to you. Money and you, we started the whole entrepreneurial experiential transformational training industry in Australia. We started in Melbourne, then went to Sydney, then South Australia, Brisbane, and ultimately Perth. And we were heading to Port Douglas when we expanded the work into some other countries. And what we found with the Kiwis and the Aussies was that it was so natural for you to give. Kiyosaki those were the 9 years that we were business partners. And Kiyosaki used to say to everyone, what are you so concerned about? Why are you feeling so much fear? In this country, nobody would let you go hungry. Somebody will stick a chicken pie in your mouth and take care of you because that is spirit, right? If we're talking to other countries and in certain parts of the United States, it's very different. It's very different. So it's a little bit more fend for yourself, even though Americans and Canadians and Mexican people all around the world, they are generous people. But the thing is that you have to understand that first you have to take care of yourself. Because if I have friends that are totally just into service and they spend all their time being of service without creating income generating activities nor creating leverage for their businesses, for the very key things that we teach in Money and You and in our business school for entrepreneurs and my online programs, my home study programs, we teach people to be able to take care of themselves first, just like in the airplane. You give yourself oxygen first, then you give to the other person. So like there is a deservability challenge that good people have, and which is like, no, maybe, if I just do enough good. And it is true, people will take care of you. But you have to really clear the cobwebs, the beliefs, the programming, the indoctrination that has been put in your consciousness around money. Money is just a means of exchange. Take away all the charge, take away all the meaning, all the other stuff, all the opinions around it so that you can be clear. And I want to give a few gifts. I love to give educational gifts. I'm going to give you a link to a program that I have in my Fridays with Doria platform that was created during COVID. And it's the magical recovery exercises, which is clearing. And this was so powerful in Australia because, you guys do have tall puppy syndrome. I was there for almost 10 years, all the time. I had a career in Australia. My beloved was Australian. And I really had it. I know. And it hasn't changed much. I was just there 2 weeks ago. It hasn't changed that much, right? That wanting to fit in and judging yourself and judging really successful people, let it go. How are you going to get yourself super successful if you're constantly judging and making people wrong who have money? Yes, a lot of them got it in a way that you never would do it, but don't focus on them. Focus on the ones who do good so you model them. You learn from them. I teach Money and You. I do my programs. Come and download. Go to my Facebook. Go to the Los Angeles Tribune. Keep listening to this beautiful podcast from this beautiful dad and listen to the people that he's bringing in and get your toolbox of entrepreneurial education filled up so that because you need to completely re-educate yourself with tools that really work. Otherwise, you will be left behind. You will be constantly going through this thing in your mind. Why am I struggling so much? Why can't I get ahead? Why do other people get ahead, but I don't? And even if I do, then something happens and all the money goes. This constant communication, it needs to be reset with self-mastery work and with work that is a combination. Oh, let me give you another gift. A combination of
You're so generous.
I love to educate the masses. And that happened. I've been like this since I was born, but it really helped when I handle my life for a few lives financially. Then you have the freedom. Then you can be really generous, but I would have done this for you anyway. But this,
thank
if you
you.
go to And if you, and again, send them the link at moneyandyou.com. And in there, there is the business success model, which is an old book, but it's still good. Forget about just read the essence of it. And it's the business success model on how to build businesses or be part of an entrepreneurial team that will allow for you to create wealth. You don't have to be the entrepreneur. You can be part of a wonderful team and then learn all these tools. That's the best tip that I can give you all.
Oh, wow. Thank you very much. And we'll make sure we put all of those links and stuff into the show notes as well. I was recently just in India last October. I took my 12-year-old son on his first overseas trip, and was a cultural transformational experience. And I've got to be sensitive with what I share here because of persecution in India, and I don't want to, our brothers and sisters, to be able to be persecuted. But one of the things that we did there is we went to the slums, and and what really hit me hard was the joy that the little kids in the slums, how much joy that they had on their faces when they were receiving a simple little gift like a banana. Like something like, in our Western culture, we take so much granted. They saw the gift in it, what it was, and the joy in it. And there was so much laughter, and there was so much smiling, there was so much love in that space. Now, I address this because I feel like wealth and it can lead to greed, which is one of the ultimate sins, right? And there are so many people that are trapped in that bondage. How do you help people sort of escape that bondage of greed and that, that sin that causes on their life?
Well, we have a lot of people that are very successful that attend Money and You. And believe it or not, especially in our Chinese business school and Money and You, in our Chinese program, we have had up to 10 billionaires in the room. The billionaires send them to them because money itself, riches itself does not create wealth. When we have the hungry dog of greed, it will never be filled. So you might as well work on it now. You might as well work now because that is a paradigm that we live in of scarcity. And people who are very content, the young people, the people that you were encountering in India and in a lot of countries, you can actually find that here in the United States too. You can find it in
Australia.
Yeah, we have over 16 million children in America that go to sleep hungry. Okay, so that goes to kind of show you it is that scarcity mentality. So what you want to do is you want to start moving and having the experiences of sufficiency, and that is an inside job. That's where the magical recovery exercises will really help you. That's when you do 3.5 days of Money and You. And we have Money and You in Australia. It's coming up, I think, the weekend of May 18th. And it's almost sold out. We have hundreds of people in it already. And what happens in 3.5 days, you have an opportunity to be able to transform and to get in touch without judgment, those things that may hold you back, while simultaneously learning the business model and learning other ways of creating wealth. So it's a combination of things. So that's why you see people who are so rich, but they're not wealthy because they're terrified of losing their money. They're greedy. They don't have enough. They stab their spouses. The most horrific divorces. They stab their brothers and sisters and mothers and nieces and nephews on the back over money. That actually occurs often. And that was my big shock. I mean, I love the way you guys say, what a shocker. What a shocker.
What a shocker.
The first time that I met a billionaire that was so messed up in the head, I was like, wait a minute. I could understand how a multimillionaire might be a little messed up. But a billionaire, when you have access, you have more money than God. There's only 27 billionaires in the world, for God's sake, right now. When I met them 30 years ago, they were a lot less, right? And it was that mindset. It was that consciousness. So when you clear both, it's like that's why our work is about creating wealth, creating economic engines around your life purpose, your gifts, the things that you're really good at. But you have to be technical about it. You see some people, real idiots, excuse my language, that have so much money, and you go, how in the hell did they do it? They just have an inherent understanding of economic engines, not just making money, but if you look at their lives, you look at what they have done. They have done the business success model. They have learned from master and experts and are surrounded by them. They have created an incredible niche. They have leveraged that niche through systems, through an aligned team, and through that they create wealth and unbelievable results. And a really big one that is hard to see through all the judgments is that they have solved a major problem. So if you product or service or program that solves a big problem, your chances of creating results exponentially multiplies, it grows, because you are solving a problem. And that
Yeah, I
is
love that.
and nobody gets educated on that on traditional schools. So on the other end, we have to transform educational systems.
Yeah, and on that note, so I've got a 12-year-old, 11-year-old, and a 9-year-old. They're all boys. Obviously got a little bit of an entrepreneurial bone because mum and dad are entrepreneurs. What advice would you have for our boys if they're listening?
Immediately, and I was doing the film through the Los Angeles Tribune yesterday. I was being filmed, and the same question was asked. Number one, they really need to get educated on what money really is. You need to actually show them. You have to show them compounding. You have to show them how money really works, and it's just a means of exchange. And and all the conversations, like they are kids that are the digital currency people. If you are a grown-up, you don't believe in crypto and you don't want to believe in all of that, they're going to completely disconnect from you, because that is their world. They're not going to connect with you at all. So you have to learn. You have to learn what your world is and then connect to that world. So we know that crypto is here because every major government in the world has set tools for that. Okay, so we have that. We now have the whole world that you are tapping into, the social interactions that you have online, how to market online. By the way, marketing, whether you do it online or offline, it better be ethical. It won't take long for people to find out if you are a crook. If you're going to go to jail, don't break laws, don't steal money, don't. You're going to get caught. It's really easy to find you online now. And so in the old days, the 5 major internet marketers in the early 2000s, most of them from San Diego, they went to jail for 10 or 15 years. And even in those days, it was really hard to catch them. So being ethical, teaching your children that there is a means of exchange, that you have to have integrity in what you do, that nothing is really for free, not really. And so when somebody says, I'm going to give you this for free, you go, oh, really? What is it that you're going to give me? Do not connect from your children. If you see their behavior really change, no, it's not a good time to be their friend. You have to be a parent. At that point, you have to not be a harsh parent, but just really begin to connect with them. If your child becomes isolated, slams the door all the time, you need to go into their gadgets. If you need to do an interference, what do they call it? When you have to go, wait a minute, what's going on? It's like most people's brains are not fully developed until we're 30 years old. When we're 20, in our 20s, our brain is still forming, and particularly the discernment aspect of our brain. So parents are very confused now about how much discipline. Hey, this is your child. It's your job to teach them supercamp.com, akeys.org, a beautiful site that the co-creator, Bobby DePorter of Money and You does, and works with supercamp.com, teenage programs, teaching them values. But more than anything else, it's like the only reason why children and a lot of young people go and do illegal things is because their friends make it look really easy and they're not going to get caught or worse. And you have to like take them. Oh, beautiful. Andrew Walsh from Melbourne, Victoria. He won the highest award given in Australia for creating 1-day in prison program where they took all these youth at risk. And then
Beautiful program.
Yeah, that's a Money New Business School graduate. That's our work. That's our.
Oh, cool! I did not know that. I know the program, but I didn't know the connection. That's beautiful.
Oh, we supported him. Andrew Walsh is a graduate of our programs. The Reach Foundation, the Lighthouse Foundation, both of them from Melbourne, Australia. Those are all Money and New Business School graduates that we empower and supported. And so what they do with the young people is to show them and to teach them responsibility. And if you're going to do something illegal, you might end up in jail. And jail is not a good place for young people. It's not. It's a horrific
well said.
school for criminals. So you have to put the fear in them and just tell them the reality, but gently and lovingly, and let other people do it. And learn from the masters, the people that I just mentioned. Those are all masters on how to work with young people. But this whole thing about, let my child be undisciplined. They're going to have a fit if I have them do that. It's like, sorry.
No.
It's like, if you don't
I totally agree with you on all of that.
No, life will teach you. And life is not,
it will.
It's harsh.
Yeah, and so that's it, right. As parents, we want to set up our kids to succeed, right? We don't want to set them up to fail. And the reality is, though, with giving them so much control of their lives that, they're not developed properly and they are setting up to fail. So, we've got to empower and equip our boys and our kids and our girls. And I totally understand that.
But not harshly. Yes. We're not talking about punishment, locking them up, taking everything away. You have to give them a contextualization. You have to show them. You have to, and you better be ethical. If they see you smoking all the time, drinking alcohol all the time, cursing all the time.
You can't be a hypocrite. You can't be a hypocrite. Like, you've actually got to lead with integrity, right?
They're mini-me's. They're watching you. They are duplicating you. And if you get really upset with them, watch what you're showing them. You have to have clarity. You have to show them how to have conflict resolution, how to participate with the teachers. Oh, listen, let's do a whole program on that alone, because I can really go into it.
I love it. I've obviously hit a passion there. That's beautiful. Thank you. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about navigating this changing world from a business perspective. It's changing rapidly, right? Like trends like decentralization and AI. What advice would you give our listeners about thriving in this new era?
Well, number one, you have to get educated on the basics, at least, of AI. AI, my beloved, he was aware of artificial intelligence 40 years ago. He had a company, a high-tech company that he sold for many millions in Germany. That's how he ended up in Hawaii, right? So AI for a certain group of people, it's not new. It's just that a few years ago,
it's just,
it hit the masses, right? So it's been
become mainstream.
You have to understand the basics. You can't just go, it's like, this is going to pass. Oh, another one. That right there is when you now are officially tapping into your paradigm. And that is something that maybe if you're my age, and I'm in my mid-70s, no surgery, this is what I look like. This is the good life. This is being a money and you person. So, and staying educated. If you are going to be into money, if you're not independently wealthy, money is coming automatically from your family, and you can just go and hide under a rock or just hang out in your yacht, perfect. You don't have to learn any of this. For the rest of us mortal beings that are
I like how you put that.
Yes, you have to learn. We have to learn. It's not a choice. It's like learning about AI. It's not like, oh, do I want to learn about AI? I am moving money and you and my work, not fully because we're still going to have live programs, but in the future, in the next 5 years, I am going to have virtual reality money and you programs with participants.
How
from
cool is
all over.
that? That is so cool. And that allows you now to have a bigger, wider impact and really serve your purpose and reach more people, right?
You have to get educated. And the thing is that learning the basics are, how does it work? How can I use it? And again, the lens, the contextualization, the fruit bowl, the container of everything that you do has to be based on integrity, on doing good, creating wealth, being good to your neighbors, taking a portion of everything that you do and contributing that to the education, to giving a hand to somebody that needs it, teaching people how to read and write, and understanding that it is one global world now. I mean, that's kind of, it's saying the same thing, but it's one world. It's like not wanting to have immigrants in your country. That's pretty crazy. Then you better go and make sure that country has sufficiency, because if they don't, they're going to get on their boats and come and knock on your door. Because I'm an ambassador for the world's leading solo architect. And in 2014, 10 years ago, we took a trip from Australia and we went to New Zealand, and we were at a very wealthy friend of ours' home, and all their friends were pretty wealthy and very self-sufficient. And they were being a little bit smug about how safe they were and all, how fantastic their lives were. And then Wang Ming says to them, well, the thing is that if you don't take care of the neighboring countries, they're going to come not by the thousands, not by the tens of thousands, but the hundreds of thousands on boats, on little, things. And they're going to come to your shores, because if you don't make sure that your neighbors have enough, they're going to come here because you have enough.
Yeah, desperate people do desperate things, right? It's the Maslow's hierarchy of core needs. Like, we'll do what we need to do to make sure our core needs are met, right?
So make sure that your neighbors also have enough, not just you. This is part of being a global entrepreneur, but I don't want to put fear onto people. That is not my style. What you need to do is handle your own life, and a portion of it is like, look around and go, okay, what is needed out in the world? Not just in your own community.
How can I help? How can I serve?
How can I serve? And the two major things to solve the biggest world problems are energy, like energy, electricity. I can go into a whole conversation about that. And the second one is education. So get educated. You first get educated. You educate your teams, the people around you, your children, your family. And if your relatives don't want to get educated, just be prepared that you're probably going to have to take care of them. Get rich enough, because if not, they're going to be starving on the side of the road. You better, I'm sorry, but you have to start doing something to begin to reach people, because the world is changing so fast. And even though they may be really close-minded, just at least prepare them so that they have enough for when they are in their 60s, their 70s, their 80s, and their hundreds, because people are living much longer. And that's what you have. Go ahead.
No, you brought some amazing truth bombs and mic drop moments through this episode, so I really appreciate you. I could talk to you all day long. This has been brilliant. But I'd love to just maybe look at, as we close, what would be one message that you'd like to leave our listeners for living a life on purpose, abundance, and service?
Well, I apologize if I brought up any fears for you, all of you, been listening to this. I want you to take deep breaths. Right now, let's take a deep breath together. And know that self-mastery, working on your own consciousness, preparing yourself, inspiring those around you, inspiring your relatives, learning all these different techniques will allow for you to be able to communicate to them. And as a family, create family banks, family offices, get wealthy together. with your family, with your neighbors. And that is what the essence of my work of Money and You is. It's making a difference, not only in your own life, but the lives of others, because we are interconnected. And thank you for having me. Thank you for this podcast. I wish you the greatest success. I'm so grateful to the Los Angeles Tribune where I got to meet you.
Yes, me too. Very grateful. And huge shout out to the LA Tribune and Mo Rock and Michael Silvers for what they're doing. Absolutely, like an amazing community. They've brought me into like the family in the last 6 months. It really does feel like a family, and it's a beautiful thing. And that's what I just get from your message and your final words that you're sharing there. And this is what I feel like is a lot of the struggles at the moment. Just to quickly wrap up, Australia has just announced that they're banning social media for people under 16, kids under 16. And I can see there's some benefits to that and why they've done that. But it really, like the core root of the problem, when you really look deep into this in my research, it comes down to that the family unit, the village mentality of raising kids together, that has been chipped away. That's been lost. And I love what you're talking about here in your message, in underlines, is that's that together, family sort of village sort of mentality, where we can do that and we can not just think about ourselves, and we can think about how we can have a wider impact around us and have some purpose around that. That's where the real magic in our heart sings, right?
Absolutely. And just know that we can manage fear too. Those fears that come in, this is an inside job. It's happening within you. That's why it's called Money and You. Because first we manage ourselves, we handle ourselves, and then the ripple effects of that will then positively affect those around you. And thank you so much for having this. And don't be part of any problems. Don't be part of any problems that at any time it hurts anyone else. And this is where I always like to complete with this. If you create products, services, programs around this question, how do we make the world work for 100% of humanity in the shortest possible through spontaneous cooperation without any ecological offense nor the disadvantage of anyone? That question by Buckminster Fuller. Then your life will evolve and it will start going in the direction that will be so magical, so beautiful for you. And you will be so loved and admired, and clients, customers, money, finances, gifts will come your way.
Wow, that's a very powerful, thank you. Like that itself, I've received that gift, and I hope our listeners receive that gift too, because that is a powerful moment right there. So thank you for that, Doria. I like to wrap up with a bit of a dad joke. It's a bit of the brand. So bear with me. It's nice and clean. It's a kid-friendly joke, but I'm curious. Do you know why rivers are so lazy?
No, I don't.
Because they're always in their beds.
That's so adorable. So I only know
I love the pause.
It was like, wow, I had to tell you, I want to be a comedian someday, and I only know one joke. I try to memorize. I practice my jokes, and then when it's time to tell it, I forget them except for one. But the next time we're together, I'll tell you that one joke.
Oh, I look forward to it. I really do. Well, thank you very much for your time, Doria. It's been an absolute pleasure. And if you've been listening to today's show, thank you for sharing not just your wisdom, Doria, but your heart with us. I know our listeners have gained incredible insights and tools to help them create a life full of purpose and abundance. And this is just a snapshot. So, Doria, before we wrap up, how can our listeners connect with you? How can they get access to Money and You? Like, what's the next steps for our listeners?
Well, definitely moneyandyou.com, is our main site. In Australia, of course, is moneyandyouaustralia.com.au. Let them know you heard from me. And but I'd really love for people to go to my social media sites, particularly my personal one. I have a fan page that, where you have lots of likes. And then I have my personal one, which is under my own name, DC Cordova. And in there, I I have all kinds of programs that I get to be in, which is entrepreneurial free education. Like when I'm going to have this program up so that many people will see it. And then I put them in all my social media. And follow me there and just power up. If you have very little money, then you can just go ahead and start applying all the principles that I teach you. And then, of course, my moneyandyourdistinctions.com, that's my home study course. That's only about $297. But
Wow.
that's a fantastic program for business, for people that want to have a big picture and understanding of building an organization. It's a business course, but it's like, grandma, mom telling you about entrepreneurship, but it's some of the best distinctions that I have learned.
Wow. Well, we can always learn so much wisdom from the older generation. So thank you very much for sharing your heart with us today. I really do appreciate you. So now, legends, here's the thing. Knowledge is only power, but where it actually works is if you go and apply it. So don't sit on this. Here's my challenge for you. What's one action that you can take from today? What have you learned and how can you apply that? Maybe it's diving into your beliefs around money, aligning your business with your values, or exploring how to leverage AI to simplify your processes. Whatever it takes, take that step. Don't just let it be another inspiring conversation that you've been a part of. If you've loved today's episode, hey, please do me a favor. Go share this with someone who needs it. Subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on the Los Angeles Tribune Podcast Network. So you never miss another conversation just like this one. And if you could also go leave us a comment on what's one takeaway that you're going to implement from today's episode. Hey, thanks for joining me, Jeff Ross, the Laptop Lifestyle Dad Show. Let's keep rewriting the stories of our lives and building businesses that serve us, not the other way around. Until next time, stay inspired, take action, and always let's make memories together that matter. Catch you soon, legends, and thank you for your time.
People are driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. The hiring process can be slow and overwhelming. Simplify hiring with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform. With over 350 million global monthly visitors according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. That's Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Terms and conditions apply.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.